MDOT-MTA reminds riders that face coverings are required while on transit vehicles and in stations. Face coverings must cover both your nose and mouth and be worn for your entire trip.
Practicing their entire lives for such occasion and situations and feel that there are forms of attrition
Please be mindful of NTA's prohibited acts
their admiration for such interests of advocation that they do as again by the individuals for whom inspired them to be as such and much popular or as an understanding about the communities that they have been how do you put it bragging about. Well, again, actualizing their individual merit just the same as they would propose everybody else do. Just the same I've done with my words and my words alone. And again, the reaction that I've gained out of these illegitimate profits and such. These features and such in which they have been proposed instead of being aggrandized. Municipal representatory test. These streamers, these influencers, these content creators, their value as such as, again, advocates, I say, are not valid or impressive to anybody for whom has been of a study and been of an acknowledgement about history. When it comes to black advocacy, they have done nothing. They have earned nothing. They have gotten or receiving nothing. So the merit they receive from me on platform will be absolutely jack shit till I see something different. And if any of these individuals as such and much have had a problem or maintain a attitude about a problem, they know where to find me. I don't make myself hard to find purposefully because I'm not scared of none of these bitch ass motherfuckers. I repudiate, and I refuse to acknowledge their belief or belief system that you can compromise individuals as such in as much as these communities have, and then discern for yourself a interest to represent as, the majority caste, the minorities, so that motherfuckers can continue on siphoning wealth from these communities that, again, they associate to being a minority. We love acknowledging their behavior and actually making some transformative content like, modernizing poetry or so. And value towards, the original roots of such natures that and inspired us based on or an otaku party alliance or an interest that way to be as imposing as is on platform and otherwise. As has been proclaimed before, state and city and the undisputed reigning champion of the world and of this rap game has been and always will be, and will lie on my lap and only be of a profit for me. Anybody for whom wishes to bow to the king, much obliged. Anybody else for whom doesn't as much, that is their decision. I have legitimately taken over this rap game. I've legitimately taken over this political content creating interest as such. I have taken the prognostication, what do you call it, affluence for myself, by myself. And that makes a lot of people jealous, by which, in what they wish they could have got it as easily. And not acknowledging the multitude of decades I have put in to be able to do it and saying, as I do on platform and otherwise, the blood I have left on the streets, the trails I paved with my own hands, communities and interests I was as such and as much responsible for raising on my own too, with my own accord in tow, and successful in doing as much and as such for myself. Unlike these individuals on platform proclaiming to be popular, but not actually having any power to back that shit up. Wishing to, again, feed in to the narrative. They are just as powerful as an incorporation, but yet and still can't act in the volition, their own oppression, what them powers rely and maintain about and on. Continuously knocked down, continuously exposed, continuously used and abused, because that is their culture. Not only as content creators, not only as a belief or a manifestation of these manic impressions, not only as a comment about society, what have you. It is a mindset. It is a mentality. That has been since these communities have been colonized. And to approach individuals such as much as if they all maintain and rely on the color of their skin to insinuate or assert or assume ethnicity is racist, and just as racist, it always has been. To assume a privilege to speak on another person's personhood is discrimination. To insinuate or assert, a status or an interest. An interest, status, or regress certain people's status due to the want or nature to fit in is discrimination. It is very much xenophobic and racist. And the tactics of xenophobia and racism that always has been to cow and post on a bully pulpit. From these same organizations and these same interests and it always has been. Again, it's not the organization. That's why it hasn't assumed the change. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean, the modernization or organism that assumes, you know what I mean, change. It's not, you know what I mean, like, oh, the health or the assumed health benefits from, you know what I mean, the psychobabble that people try to assume, you know what I mean, a privilege about, you know what I mean, presenting, again, the same classist narratives, like everybody can, you know what I mean, get that or what have you. But again, they're not the same as their elders. They haven't become their parents. They just act, speak, basically drive the same cars, use the same language as their parents, but they're not them parents. You know what I mean? But they haven't been of the use of the same, again, organizations, interests, status, and I mean divides as the elders. But again, they're to be looked at as different now all of a sudden because time has moved forward. Not that they have moved forward as a community, as a culture. They've just streamlined more so that oppressive environment and made it habit forming to a degree and fashion that, again, my elders always told me would be the case, which is again the reason why I'm not surprised. I mean, the reason why nobody else is aptly traumatized or surprised in my community about such things. Because we've been of a study of the actual history and not the whole incomplete narrative that motherfuckers try to associate to be or represent themselves as something that they are not. And again, as much as such as, you know what I mean, I can claim and be a claimant, I mean, on platform or otherwise, these things will never pass me as such, and as much these interests will never be dividing my culture that I have seen cultivate and work through the grind and the mud and the struggle for the longest. They will not be of denying us our victory that is owed. But a principle of merit on the subject. That isn't, again, I can have a claim that all this is a cycle, and again, all this has been foretold. Interest, you know, about bashing a Dave Chappelle or a Joe Rogan or an interest of a Dat Baby, Antonio Brown, Whoopi Goldberg. These things are not new because they are not new to and for the culture that has been perpetuating these narratives. They speak no different on platform than they have been IRL. And kind of has been the problem from jump. That as much and as such as they've been of the belief that, oh, if I got a few million subscribers, that would change me, or, oh, if I could talk to a Pokemon, that could, you know, he benefit me somehow, or again, being of interest of networking, communicating with these individual streamers as such as much on panel. I mean, it would be as such and as much, you know what I mean, there's shit that has been done, and it does not assess purposely in the same way. Again, the multitude of influences have been of a claim that it should. Those divides are not on the interest of the company, the, you know what I mean, stream, such, or, you know what I mean, the community or faces that aptly put themselves out the screen. It is the culture, or again, the individuals in chat, you know what I mean, that I can raise my house and of the meetings,
Pulaski Street and Bryant
I
Avenue.
think interests are aptly to blame for the cultural divides that earnestly exist. And like I will continue to say, critical race theory is not a theory when motherfuckers are actualizing the shit. You can't think a thing is a thing. Just a concept when people are doing the thing. That's a procedure, which is different from a concept that way. Because they're different words. Procedure, verb, concept is a noun. I think I'm pretty confident that individuals conclude that they are acting in ways, or using grammar in ways that does not conclude their value, and assume that again, just because interest or the meritocracy that they have, their obligatory interests, that they can belittle, beleaguer, and be of the assumption of compromising people in the very same way that they assume that they have been compromised. Believing that is their privilege to again represent black people in ways to values for again the Joe Rogans, the Amir Khans, or Anna, what have you, with the Destiny situation.
Street.
It's a multitude of others. The way Joe Lewis is portrayed and used on platform. All these interests. I've all been told and foretold. Alright. All these individuals are being used as pieces for a culture that has never been of representing them outright. Because the culture that they embody as such, not by the same token, streamers, but, white culture. They don't have to embody the aristocratic understanding and systematic,
Central Street and North Avenue.
Commitment
Transfer to City
has been fiscally empowering to those who comply to that structure. Their commitment, their steadfast interest towards dividing and assuming to conquer is always going to be realized of the venue of these municipalities that they create for themselves.
Central Street and Fredberry Street.
And these markets, these statistics, these organizations and interests, but they've all been a part of the history that we have come up to today, whether it be modern history or anything further, such as ancient history, however you approach that divide. It's a lot of different things people consider ancient.
Street and Preston Street. Transfer to City Link Gold and Local Link 85.
Coincidental? I don't think so, but again, it's a part of the culture.
Central Street and Preston Street. Transfer to City Link Gold and Local Link 85.
Such dialect to separate and segregate their word from everybody else's, so that they can associate on the merit of representing said caste or a culture or community for their own needs and gains. Like Candace Owens and the MAGA movement And, you know, the truckers right now, but how you make enough money for protesting? And I ain't made no money off of no type of protest I've been doing. That's some shit. Some real shit. Must have done something strange for a little bit of change. Seemingly.
Ventura Street and Lafayette Avenue.
I just take nothing for profit. If I mean all these communities for whom put out all these interests as such, and accused of being so fun-loving and boisterous, how they always come back to the same, or the being of the same cast, and perpetuating it as a form of projection, assumedly. And that's only to enforce the history, assumedly to decide. Second, it has to being a historian. Yes, it's very much the truth. But again, married that way, so as a business owner, executor myself. These communities, these individual interests that have so been aligned with the power structure, the basis of the oppressor, and communicating as a representative of both things at the same time, white and black, the rich and the poor, or the guilty and the innocent, or what have you. They all do so on the established regard and understanding that they can abscond with their responsibility. And that's just not how life works. It's just a thing where these individual interests standing on their own merit. But again, assuming that because they can stand together as a fist, that they are so much better than they were alone. Not acknowledging the individual interest each has to be to align as a straight fist and to create a bunch of angles. Which, again, is my problem wholesale with most of these individuals. They don't have a understanding of how these things work and have worked. They don't and haven't been the culture and community so associated and know the understanding of its interest. They have not been in the basements, in the church houses, in these communities that again have been so aligning to educate me on such things and never have been. So for these communities to sit on their poly pulpits now with their $1,000 mics and their $100,000 fucking cameras and but all the good pictures and Instagram photos, what? It's all coming to it. All that is.
Street and West Mulberry Street.
The community that they have fashioned for themselves is tested. Very least. These upcoming years, the commerce that has been an advocacy for them to be considered such as much. Not by these individual interests or some rando, but by those who have been educated and R2B of a claim for black advocacy or religious study. Humanitarian for special need welfare or the mentally ill. These understandings will be met very much so with the very same vitriol outright as has been on platform in these communities of individuals for whom have been of the proximity of space dining. No, their place in the meta about such interested understanding. We have been commenting about for the decades and the multitude of generations as I can assume in life with myself as an executive and CEO. So, and also the multitude of those for whom have committed
Baltimore
to
Street. Transfer to local 178.
Otaku Party on to these interests created by foundational African Americans for the established regard of foundational African Americans. And as much as I can be influenced, I will not be denied my knowledge, not denied my culture. If these individuals wish to associate on the merit of representing my culture, they will be tested. They will be appropriated as such and as much for what and who they are. Their actions will speak for themselves, not for the group, not for anybody for whom they can hide in the anonymity about or via the attritional value it's gone in the crowd around. You will be held to your own account, such as much as again I can be said executiveship communities or interests ever had a problem. Yes, I have said on platform or otherwise, they know where to find me. I don't make myself hard to find. Understanding where you find these comments can be best heard. Knowledge about where they can meet motherfuckers for the decades I've been involved and invested. They're gonna have to see me out here. Have to see who that is. Have to do as they say on their own 2 feet. If they can, but that's also good as well. But we won't find out is the problem. Same way as motherfuckers have always been about finding out. Has been the problem. And anyone for whom can consider myself at this point vetted in the market and understanding that I've been about cultivating for myself and a multitude of others. I refuse to be denied as my elders have refused to be denied the individual interest for whom been of a claim and of educating me on such things have not been denied. And as I have been, and we can assume for those same, just waiting for somebody to try. Unlike those on platform for whom have been knocked down and dragged out and beat up, verbally or otherwise, and like couldn't get back up. Once they'll stay of their interest and of their committee and with their committee. Continue on prevailing on in such and as much as they are represented in their community. Such and as much. We have an acknowledgement. Got up. What less can I call them, book punks? Interest been acknowledged as a group from John. These ne'er-do-wells for whom have been trying to discern a resource for segregating media in my platform has been of the same individual merits as I have claimed, and have been of a knowledge of these things because I have had the community to commit to making me have knowledge about such things. But again, it'd be a Boyce Watkins or Vicky Taylor or Tariq Nasheed or myself. Always of a value on our word alone, unlike some communities and platforms for whom need a little bit more to consider themselves successful. Again, a couple of generations ago, we wouldn't be obliged or of an interest to speaking so freely. And to disassociate now all of a sudden with what has been the cause and the agenda, from my understanding, from you, commit to speaking freely as such and much, as is our governed right, as equals. So shall it be, for long as I can be maintaining that very same ideology. For long as I can be of the assumption, continue on that legacy for myself. Anybody's want to. So, if anybody's ever want to, interested to compete with me about that, they can get the same results and rewards as those on platform have been of receiving a loss and a sore ass and very much in the invitation that these communities have always been a warrant and a one. Seemingly, my understanding in history is of the understanding always of perpetuating such admirable fun. And wholesale not contingent on interest. And it comes to the a card. Or, indoctrination. Wait, what is it for? Oh shit. Oh, okay, we're recording. Oh damn. I mean, the affirmed commerce for these individual communities. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Um, has been affirmed as, I mean, adhering to the same castigation, the same meritocracy that it always has been, which is none at all. I mean, all according to, the determined, the vectors of white supremacy and white supremacist tactics, as it always has been. And again, assumingly, always shall be at this rate. Understanding of history, or commerce, or rights, or representation has been the same concordance and obligation that it always has been. When you're one platform or otherwise, whether it be like the situation, or again, the Zimmerman situation, or the fucking uh, Kyle Rittenhouse situation. But not about like, oh, fucking skin tone, or age or gender. It's all about the fucking system. Unity is such, that has emboldened itself and invited itself to the system, so that it may rely and continue to be reliant on the system that has favored them, because of the color of their skin. Not, arguing on the merit of their actions, just the same as anybody else has received. Because again, they ain't supposed to be of a knowledge of, the statistics that way for, gun violence charges. Ain't nobody else getting fucking off on shooting motherfuckers for fights they started, or fucking, beefing with motherfuckers in a crowd, or what have you, or being around anybody company, but, or barbershop, what have you, whatever the fuck it is, gas station, what have you, but none of that. But again, it ain't for them to know. It's not for these individuals on platform to be like, oh, of a knowledge about, because they Republicans, they ain't supposed to know. They the little whites. They the serf class. And so long as their mentality don't change, they always gonna be such and as much. What's going on, bro? Do you have such a comment? As long as I'm concerned, I'm not about treating them no different. They've been of treating with me about, for that. I'm giving the attitude they give me back. But, again, to assume like that, I'm some type of equal to these individuals, when again, I've been doing this shit far longer and been doing my own shit for the longest. Like, for them to treat with me in the ways that I've been, treated as such is, demeaning and demoralizing, and assume, to be a whole victory for these communities. But again, in reality, just affirming the accuracy of my elders about what is said and what has been said and what will be continued to be said, perpetuated by these communities for whom so affirmed to hate motherfuckers. Again, can't like get the gumption to hit motherfuckers in the face because they cowards. They're always gonna be cowards. They can't be lucid with their understanding of honor because they ain't got no honor. Ain't no way they get to die with their head held high. They gonna shit on themselves. Fuck, because that's who they are. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Something that can be passed off, you know what I mean, to individuals or, you know what I mean, institutions or associations. But, you know what I mean? It's all on, you know what I mean, if you think interest of such and such, to, you know what I mean, commiserate and commit to, you know, the established regard that they elders raised them to be of, not to, communicate as such and as much as a, you know what I mean, unit or caste system or interest that way. I mean, again, it's coming time where these individuals on platform at the very least are going to have to communicate on their own merit. But, you know, just the same as everybody else. You know what I mean? And I am grateful and glad that I am already prepared, such as much as I have been, to, you know what I mean, be, you know what I mean, acting as an individual with my platform until, I mean, give myself that opportunity outright to, go ahead, bro. To, you know what I mean, waiting for a Twitch or a Twitter or a YouTube to do that shit for me. You know what I mean, I called my own fucking number is the problem. And, you know what I mean, what it is that these individuals are jealous about. You know what I mean? And again, we were like, oh, fucking around and like playing GTA. Like, but my shit actually gets people some money if they're willing to work for it. I don't even be selling hustles. I be trying to empower people to hustle on platform the right way is the problem. You know, they mad because I got sponsors and they didn't have sponsors when they was like, oh, two you or Andy's. They mad because, you know what I mean, people still come around to see me and like everybody like me and these hoes on me. Like, it's funny because it's true. They hating so hard. Why you hating so hard? Why you hating so hard? It's funny. Cause that shit is true. No, you know what I mean? Communicate in the ways that's been efficient. They culture. You know, I'm grateful for part and parcel of my own. I'm grateful for being a part of my own. You know what I mean, waiting on a Twitch or a Twitter or a YouTube or a Pokemon or a Moist Critical. Or, what's going on, Mom? Hey, bro. Yeah, I'm alright, Mom. He was going, Mom. But I get in here, get to work. So, shit, just turn it off. What's going on, Zach? Yeah, 40 minutes. So, like, it's an hour total.